Do you know, it was one of those days. I set off to go to one place and landed up by going to another place. Typical. And here we are looking at the River Nene, or some people call it the River Nen, as you enter the village of KISLINGBURY. Times I've cycled over this bridge and been over it in the car, but never stopped off at this pretty little village to view the scene. Lots of dragonflies around in the year 2004. Well, this is another pretty thatched cottagey type village. A nice church, the Parish Church of St. Luke, where I just managed to get in and get one or two pictures because the vicar in this church had just finished his service and had to rush off to another village to conduct a service there. By golly, there's a shortage of vicars, besides, I understand, being short of parishioners as well. Very nice bench ends there. And that looked very ghosty. I took one or two pictures that looked very ghosty in that church. Think what you like. Well, the Sun Inn is on a corner as you turn into Mill Road. There is that river that runs just to the north side of this little village, and of course it had a mill, didn't it? Although the mill is not used as a mill now, but it's always nice down by the mill and by the river, isn't it? So we'll make our way down there, past these lovely cottages. You look at that house and it's so small, isn't it? Must be a one-man family, I should think. Nearly there now at the mill. The river runs at the back of these cottages. Lots of thunderstorms and heavy rain in August 2004, but look at that lovely sky with the fluffy clouds. I was out for about 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 4.5 hours, and I never saw a spot of rain, and I walked 5.5 miles on this little tour. When you see little sights like that, it makes it all worthwhile. Hey, gee up, Keith, you've got other places to visit. Now, can anyone tell me why those holes are there? Are they for doves, being a kind of loft dovecote? And look at that lovely wrought iron gate. Well, this is where I was supposed to be going in the first place. The Grand Union Canal, always a lovely place to walk alongside the canal. Everybody talks to you, waves, smiles, a very happy place to be. I'm going to walk along the canal for about a mile and then go back down into the village of Bugbrook. Stay with me, won't you? How about a property on the canal bank with your own little berth for your own little boat, right next door to a large canal boat marina? That family came from the town of March in Cambridgeshire. We'll just call that reflections, shall we? Now here we are at the bridge, and after we've taken a few pictures on the bridge, I found 2 collie dogs, a man and 2 boys. Okay, so the canal runs alongside the railway tracks. Unfortunately, on this day, the railway was shut down for maintenance work. If you look at all these pictures separately, one by one, you'll then see them all put together in a panoramic view. Well, my next step was down this country lane or path alongside a field, 3/4 of a mile or so into Bugbrook village. Once again, quite a lot of stone buildings and lovely country gardens, a few thatched cottages, a nice church, a nice little brook flowing through it. Who could ask for anything more? And look at that lovely sky. you know there's a public right of way through that farmyard? That's most unusual, isn't it? Now that tells a story, doesn't it? 198 years old, that building. Do you know, when I go round these villages, I haven't a clue where the roads lead to. I just wander around like somebody silly, or a silly nilly, or a silly willy. Never seem to get lost. Sometimes I have to go down a road and back up the same road. Didn't on this one. I went down the lane, found this brook, then I saw a sign, footpath, leading across a meadow towards that church. So I took that footpath, went down to the river again, and actually found some stepping stones, although I wouldn't have risked going across. It wasn't that deep, but didn't fancy getting my feet wet. And I came out actually in a different street. And then I worked my way round and ended up by going into the church. This is going back up to the main street again, up these little narrow country alleys. You don't see these sort of things in the towns. These are truly village walks. See the metal tie bars there, the cross? There's a tie bar goes right through the property to the other wall on the back of the building. There's a nice little pub. I wonder why it's called the Baker's Arms. Did the bakers in the villages all meet there and discuss bread? Well, there's the old bakehouse, and that was only just down the road from the pub. Looks to me as if it's being thoroughly modernised. Now we're right outside the village school, and look, this is really old. Boys at one end, then you've got the school. Well, we'll look at the school sign first, and I'll point it out to you, and you will see there is the length across the front of the school, and at the other end underneath the gable it says girls. Now I'm sorry it was a bit blurred, but it was a long way away and very difficult to get a photo of, but 18 something, just gotta be. Well, that's that same brook, but we're on a different road, and this road leads to first a pub, and opposite the pub is the church, or there's the church and opposite the church is the pub. Seems to me in many of these villages that a church and a pub go very well together. Here's the 5 bells. The church bells aren't ringing, but we're going inside to have a look at St Michael All Angels. Hope you've enjoyed a look around these 2 villages and a little walk along the canal.